Good evening, my YouTube viewers. Crystal here. I just wanted to make you a video about JetRail. This is a data set that was taken off the Analytics.io website, and JetRail is a univariate time series analysis competition question. And I previously worked on JetRail website dataset, and I did a video on that. But I was thinking about it this morning how I would like to improve the score, and I thought, well, if I add an extra column stating the day of the week, then maybe that will improve my score. So what I did was I gave it a go, and I'm making you a video to let you know what I have done. So the first thing that I did was I wrote the program on Google Colab, which is a free online Jupyter notebook, and it has a lot of the libraries already installed on it. So that means that I didn't have to worry about installing the most recent version of Python on my computer, and I didn't have to worry about installing all of the libraries I would need on my computer either. So that's done for me already in Google Colab. So I created the program, and so now what we're going to do is we're going to go over the problem statement and read the problem statement. It says, "Welcome, data hacker. Congratulations on your new job. This time you are helping out unicorn investors with your data hacking skills. They are considering making an investment in a new form of transportation, JetRail. JetRail uses jet propulsion technology to run rails and move people at a high speed. While JetRail has mastered the technology and they hold the patent for their product, the investment would only make sense if they get more than 1 million monthly users within the next 18 months. You need to help Unicorn Ventures with the decision. They usually invest in B2C startups less than 4 years old looking for pre-Series A funding. In order to help Unicorn Ventures in their decision, you need to forecast the traffic on JetRail for the next 7 months. You are provided with data traffic of JetRail since inception in the test file." So that was our problem statement. And what we've done now is we've imported our libraries. And we've imported NumPy, Panda, Seaborn, Matplotlib, FBProfit, and sklearn. And after we've imported our libraries, then what we're going to do is we're going to load the data and read it. So what I did was I downloaded the train, test, and sample data sets off of the problem statement of the Analytics.io website, and I saved those files to my personal GitHub account. So whenever I want to use those data sets, I can use them. So you're welcome to use the data sets as well. Since they're in my personal GitHub account, I don't mind if other people want to use my data sets. So we've got the train file. And so you can see the train file has your date time, which is your index, an ID, and a count. We have our test file, which is the date time with which is the index and only an ID, because what we have to do is we have to predict what the count is going to be, and then we're going to have to put it on our submission. So when we submit, we're going to have an ID number and a count. So the next thing we're going to do is I thought in order to improve my accuracy, I thought it would be a good idea to add an extra column and call it day of the week. And then basically that's what we've done, is we've got an extra column called day of the week. So we got the train file now that has ID count and day of the week. And we have a test file which has date, time, ID, and day of the week. So now the next thing we wanted to do is we want to create a date time column. So train DS equals train index and test DS equals test index. And now what we're going to do is we're going to rename the columns. And the reason why we're going to rename the columns is because FB Profit wants to have the columns named a certain way. If the columns aren't named in the correct format that they want it to be, then what will happen is it will go into error. So we rename the column count to Y, and we rename the column day of week to add 1. So we did that to both train and test. So you can see now we've got our train file, which has an ID, a Y, an add 1, and a DS. And it's the same thing for the test file. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to drop the ID column from the train file and the test file. So before we drop the ID column from the train file and the test file, what we're going to do is we're going to create a variable called ID train, and the train ID is going to be put in it, and we're going to create another variable called ID test, and test ID is going to be put in it. So now you can see our train data frame. So it's got your date, time, it has ID, Y, add 1, and DS. And then you got your test file. So it's got your date, time, ID, add 1, and DS. So as you can see that it didn't drop the ID. So what I think I might do is I might go back and do an in place equals yes and see if that drops the ID, because obviously what I did didn't drop the ID, but we will go ahead and carry on with this presentation anyway. Now what we're going to do is we're going to graph the data, and when we graph the data, train Y is your target, and we're going to plot the data. And so you see that it's made a plot from all of the train file because we've got the target data. Now what we're going to do is we're going to split the data. And again, since the ID train didn't work the first time, I decided I'd give it another go. So ID train equals train ID, ID test equals test ID. We split the data, and then J train equals train DS less than or equals split date copy. J val equals train DS greater than or equal to split date copy, and J test equals test copy. And then so what we've done now is we tried to drop the ID from the JTrain, JVal, and JTest file, and this time it worked. I'm not sure exactly why it didn't work the last time, but when I finish this presentation, I'll go do a little bit of work on it and see if I can figure out why it didn't work. So now we've got our JTrain file, which has got your date, time, yes, add 1, and DS. And we've got our JVal file, which is the validation set. You've got your date, time, Y, add 1, and DS. And we've got our JTest file, which is your date, time, add 1, and DS. because there is no count. So now what we do is we call up the FB profit. FB profit is the model that's going to analyze this time series. M equals profit. M is your model. M dot add regressor, add 1. So we've added an extra column to the model. And M fit J train. So what we're doing is we're training and fitting the data onto the model. So now what we've done is we've forecast. Now after we've trained and fitted the model, we're going to forecast on the validation set. So forecast equals M predict JVal drop columns equal Y forecast. And so here we have our forecast. And you can see here it's got a lot of information in it. And so you've got your Y hat, and Y hat is what we're looking for. So now what we're going to do is we're going to calculate the Rnse of the model. And our Rnse is 200, which I guess is pretty good. And now we make a data frame of the model so we can compare our actual value to the value that was predicted. And just from what I see, the value that was predicted is higher than the actual value. So we plot a graph of the forecast, and so you can see the validation set there. And then we plot some more graphs. So if you like graphs, you can analyze the graphs. And now what we're going to do is we're going to forecast on the test set. So forecast equals M predict J test. And so we're going to forecast on it. So what we're looking for specifically is the Y hat, because your Y hat is your prediction. So we're going to make another graph that shows that the customers are increasingly escalating upward, which is what the investors want. The investors want to get a certain amount of customers. I believe in the problem statement they said that they wanted 1 million customers, so they want to get as many customers as possible. And so now we've got some other charts that you can look at. If you like to analyze charts, they're there for you to look at. And so the next thing that we have is we're going to plot some more graphs. And I don't think that we could plot the graphs, and the reason why is because we didn't have the Y value for that, so those graphs didn't plot. But I left the code in there anyway, even though the graphs didn't plot. And then what we're going to do is we're going to prepare our submission. And when we prepared our submission, we made a data frame, and that count is what's going to be submitted to Analytics VidHaya. And when I submitted it to Analytics VidHaya, I got a score of 365.1597. Okay, so that was an improvement of less than 1 percentage point from when it was a single variant. And so, but you may think, oh, well, it's only 1 percentage point. But when you are entering competitions, that 1 percentage point can make the difference between winning and not winning. For example, I'm just looking on the leaderboard here, and I know you can't see it, but as we look on the leaderboard, the winner was 132.16852, and the guy that went in second place was 132.22292. So he just scored a fraction of a percent better than the other guy, and he won over a fraction of a percent. So when you're entering competitions, then what you're striving to do is you're striving to get your score as perfect as you possibly can so you can win the competition. So that concludes this presentation on the JetRail Analytics VidHaya competition question. And what I had done is I had converted this univariate time series analysis to a multivariate time series analysis by adding an extra column. And the column that I added was the day of the week, because I thought, well, the day of the week is going to make a big difference on the traffic, because if it's a weekend, there's not going to be as much traffic as there is going to be during the week. And if I had wanted to, I could actually have put in another code to say weekend. But I decided not to. I thought, well, day of the week might be sufficient, so I'll just leave it at day of the week. And so that's it for this presentation. If you like my video, please like, subscribe, and share. If you like the work I do and you would like to make a donation, then please, I've got my email address to my PayPal account in the description box down below. I don't have enough subscribers, so the only way that I can make any money on this channel is to ask for donations. And to finalize, thank you so much for watching this video, and I look forward to making more videos for you in the future. Okay, so